Welcome. Let's just settle in for a moment. Find a bit of quiet.
Letting the noise fade away.
Today, we're going to gently explore something we all run into, mistakes.
Yes. And perhaps in this quiet space, we can start to see them differently. Not as,
Yeah,
well, not just as failures.
right. Think about walking through a forest. The ground's uneven. Maybe you stumble.
Happens all the time.
Exactly. But what if that stumble isn't just annoying? What if it's actually part of the journey itself? Maybe it helps you pay more attention, find a better way forward.
Or it reveals something about the path you hadn't noticed. A hidden route, perhaps. Becomes information.
That's kind of the angle we're taking today.
It's like weaving, isn't it? Sometimes the thread catches, it snags.
Yeah.
But that snag doesn't mean the whole cloth is ruined. It just adds character, a unique point in the pattern.
It's interesting because some older ways of thinking, like in Buddhism, they don't frame mistakes as these big, terrible things.
No, they're seen as quite natural, just part of, well, being human, inherent to the experience.
So the suffering isn't really from the mistake itself.
Often the suffering comes more from our attachment,
Yeah.
our clinging to this idea of perfection, how things should have gone. Mistakes sort of gently nudge us, reminding us we're human.
That really makes you think, doesn't it? For anyone listening, how much pressure do you put on yourself to get everything right? And what does that fear of messing up, what does it actually do in your life?
That striving can create such tension, a kind of resistance to how things naturally unfold. Mistakes feel heavy then.
Well, maybe they don't have to be.
Maybe they're just pointers, lighter than we make them.
And it's not just us, right? I mean, even the Buddha himself, Siddhartha Gautama, his path wasn't exactly a straight line to enlightenment.
Not at all. His initial approach was one of extreme self-denial, asceticism.
Right, pushing the body to its absolute limit.
He truly believed that extreme path, that intense discipline, was the key to spiritual freedom. He spent years doing it.
But that didn't work out as planned, did it?
Quite the opposite, really. It led to deep disillusionment, physical weakness. He almost died.
Wow.
Looking back, you could absolutely see that period as a kind of, well, a monumental mistake in his search. A dead end, in a way.
But here's the fascinating part. That very mistake, that extreme path that didn't yield enlightenment, that's what led him to one of his core teachings, wasn't it?
Exactly. It was because of that hardship, that pushing to the extreme and finding it wanting, that the middle way emerged.
Balance over extremes.
Precisely. This profound understanding, born directly from what looked like a major failure, became absolutely fundamental to Buddhism.
It's kind of mind-blowing, isn't it, that the founder of this major philosophy learned such a crucial lesson through messing up, basically.
It really highlights that wisdom often doesn't come from getting everything right the first time. It involves exploration, maybe even going down paths that turn out to be not the final destination.
Yeah, you learn what doesn't work.
Which is incredibly valuable information.
That reminds me of a more, modern story. An entrepreneur, Alex, poured his heart and soul into a tech startup, an app. He was convinced it was the next big thing.
But the launch, total disaster. A spectacular flop, he called it.
Oh, I can imagine the feeling, that initial devastation, questioning everything.
Totally. He felt like a complete failure, thought about just packing it all in, but then something shifted for him.
What happened? What changed his perspective?
Well, instead of just wallowing in it, he actually started to look closely at why it failed. Like really objective.
Digging into the details.
Yeah, the user feedback, the market reaction, his own assumptions. He realized the interface wasn't great. He hadn't researched the market enough. Maybe he was a bit, overconfident.
That moment of honest reflection, moving past the emotion to inquiry, that's crucial.
And here's the key bit. He stopped seeing those issues as proof he was a failure. Instead, he started calling them data points.
Reframing it. Not failure, just information.
Exactly. Valuable insights that could show him what to do next. That shift is so powerful. Seeing a setback not as an end, but maybe it's a detour sign.
Totally. So he took all that feedback, went back to the drawing board, worked with designers, actually listened this time, and the relaunch. Huge success.
It really mirrors the Buddha's journey in a way, doesn't it? The first attempt didn't work, but learning from it opened up a better path.
It really does. And it makes you think about your own life, Have you ever had something feel like a massive setback at the time, but looking back, you realize it actually taught you something vital, maybe even led you somewhere better?
Those are often the moments where the deepest growth happens, I think. It's navigating that rough ground that builds resilience.
And this ties into that Buddhist idea of dukkha, which isn't just like suffering in the dramatic sense.
No, it's broader. It includes that inherent unsatisfactoriness, the friction, the struggle that's just part of life sometimes. For Alex, that initial discomfort of the app failing, that's dukkha.
And acknowledging that discomfort, that this isn't working, that's what opened the door.
Yes. Acknowledging the reality of the unsatisfactoriness, rather than fighting it or denying it, creates the space for change, for transformation.
It makes me think of like clouds. Mistakes can feel like these big, dark clouds blocking the sun. You get so focused on the cloud itself.
Fixated on the problem.
Yeah, you forget the sun is still there.
And the sun represents
our potential,
Yeah.
our true nature. It's constant, you know. Even when we mess up, the trick is just shifting perspective, looking past the cloud.
That shift is fundamental, isn't it? Recognizing the cloud is temporary, the obstacle isn't permanent, the light is always there.
There's that Japanese art form, kintsugi.
Ah, yes, repairing pottery with gold. Beautiful concept.
Right, they don't hide the cracks, they highlight them, fill them with gold lacquer.
Making the brokenness part of its beauty, part of its story.
Exactly. So the idea is maybe we can reframe our own cracks, our mistakes, not as flaws to be ashamed of, but as things that add depth, character, value to our story.
It's a powerful way to think about our own histories, our own perceived failures. They're part of us, and they can actually make us more uniquely beautiful, more resilient.
It's a challenge, though. Can you really look back at past mistakes and see them that way, as adding value?
It requires a certain gentleness with oneself and acceptance, recognizing that sometimes it's through those very cracks that our light shines most unexpectedly.
And it's not just a nice metaphor, is it? There's research backing this up.
Absolutely. Studies show that viewing mistakes as learning opportunities genuinely builds resilience and creativity too.
Because you're less afraid to try things.
Exactly. The fear of failure shrinks when you see failure as just feedback, a detour, not a dead end. It frees you up to take more risks, to explore.
And apparently something interesting happens in the brain too.
Making mistakes actually activates brain regions linked to problem solving and adaptability. So each time you learn from an error, you're literally strengthening those neural pathways for growth.
Wow. So mistakes are like exercise for the brain's adaptation muscles.
In a way, yes. They are active agents of change, shaping our cognitive landscape.
So, okay, how do we actually cultivate this? Practically speaking, when you make a mistake, what's the first step?
Mindfulness is really the foundation. The immediate reaction is often self-criticism, right?
Oh yeah, the inner critic goes wild.
Mindfulness invites you to just observe that. Notice the thoughts, the feelings, shame, frustration, whatever it is, without getting swept away.
So don't beat yourself up, just notice that you want to beat yourself up.
Precisely. Create a little space, a pause. Resist the urge to jump straight to self-beratement.
And in that pause,
you can gently ask, what can I learn here? How could this maybe contribute to my growth? What's the information in this?
that shift from judgment to curiosity seems huge.
It really is. It changes the whole energy.
Yeah.
It moves from feeling ashamed and stuck to feeling potentially empowered.
Yeah.
Like you can extract something useful even from a painful experience.
You mentioned the path earlier. It makes me think of a river.
Mm-hmm.
When a river meets a big rock, an obstacle, it doesn't just stop dead.
No, it adapts. It finds a way around, flows over it, carves a new channel perhaps, but it keeps moving.
And we have that same choice, don't we? We can get stuck, dammed up by the obstacle, or we can find a way to flow onwards. Maybe even let the obstacle redirect us somewhere interesting.
The choice is always in the response. Do we stagnate in frustration, or do we embrace the flow and let the challenges shape our journey?
It also helps, I think, to remember you're not the only one making mistakes.
Oh, absolutely not. It's a universal human experience.
Right. We tend to think our failures are unique, but they're woven into the fabric of being human.
If you look at anyone you admire, anyone who's achieved great things, you'll find a history of stumbles, missteps, learning curves.
Totally. Like Einstein had inventions that completely failed. J.K. Rowling got rejected how many times?
Countless times. Success rarely looks like a smooth, straight line upwards. It's usually full of zigzags, detours, unexpected turns.
It puts things in perspective, doesn't it? Realizing these bumps are just part of the road, not proof you're lost.
They remind us that growth is messy, and resilience often comes directly from navigating those difficulties.
Thinking about the bigger picture, you mentioned Dharma. How do mistakes fit into that sense of natural order?
From the perspective of Dharma, the interconnectedness of everything, mistakes aren't really random accidents. They arise from a whole web of causes and conditions. They're part of the unfolding pattern.
Okay. And then there's karma, which isn't about punishment, right?
Not in a simple sense, no. It's more about cause and effect. Your actions, including those that lead to mistakes, have consequences. Understanding those consequences is how you learn. It's a feedback loop for growth.
So the mistake itself isn't the point, it's the learning from the consequence.
Exactly. Every action creates ripples. But within those ripples, those consequences, lies the seed of potential learning. The key is how you respond. Do you push it away, resist, blame, or do you lean in, try to understand?
The story of Angulimala is pretty intense, isn't it? Notorious bandit.
Yes. Someone who committed terrible acts. Yet, through encountering the Buddha, he underwent a complete transformation.
It really shows that maybe no mistake is truly too big to learn from, to change from.
It challenges that idea of being defined forever by our worst moments. True change starts with awareness and the willingness to choose a different path forward. His story is a powerful symbol of that potential within everyone.
And that feels so applicable now, whether it's a huge career mistake or just, saying the wrong thing in a relationship. There's always a chance to adjust, right?
Yeah.
To recalibrate.
The past informs, but it doesn't have to imprison. Each moment offers a fresh start, an opportunity to respond with more wisdom based on what you've learned.
You mentioned mindfulness meditation earlier as a tool. Can you walk us through a practice specifically for dealing with a mistake?
Sure. Find a quiet spot, get comfortable, let your breath settle you. Then, gently bring to mind a recent mistake. Nothing too overwhelming, maybe something smaller to start. And just notice what arises. Feelings may be shame, frustration, regret, anxiety, thoughts, the self-criticism, the what-ifs.
And the goal isn't to stop those feelings.
No, not at all. It's to allow them, to observe them with a kind of gentle curiosity, like watching clouds drift by. Acknowledge their presence without getting lost in the storm.
Okay, so you're just watching the feelings, the thoughts. Then what?
Then you can start to inquire gently. Ask yourself, what's underneath this feeling? What patterns might have led to this mistake? Maybe it's a habit of rushing, or a fear of saying no, or some insecurity.
Trying to understand the roots, not just the surface event.
Exactly. And the aim isn't self-flagellation, it's insight. Understanding empowers you to make different choices next time.
And you also mentioned Vipassana, insight meditation. How does that help with mistakes?
Vipassana involves looking deeply into the nature of reality, including our own minds. We start to see firsthand the impermanence of everything, anicca, the potential unsatisfactoriness, dukkha, the lack of a fixed, solid self.
How does seeing that apply to, say, spilling coffee all over important papers?
Well, seeing it through the lens of impermanence, you recognize the mistake, the feeling, the consequence. It's all temporary. It arises and it will pass. Recognizing dukkha helps you soften the resistance, the "this shouldn't have happened" feeling. And understanding anatta, selflessness, helps you see that the mistake doesn't diminish your fundamental worth. It's an event, not who you are.
So it helps detach your identity from the error, loosens its grip.
Precisely. It allows you to see it more clearly as a passing phenomenon without the heavy emotional baggage of "I am a failure."
That connects to Carol Dweck's growth mindset idea too, doesn't it? Seeing challenges not as proof you're bad at something, but as a chance to get better.
Yes, absolutely. The growth mindset is incredibly helpful here. It shifts the focus from proving yourself to improving yourself. Setbacks become opportunities to stretch, to learn, to build new skills through effort.
Like Thomas Edison and the light bulb, it wasn't thousands of failures.
It was discovering thousands of ways that didn't work. That non-attachment to the outcome. The focus on the process of discovery is very much aligned with these principles.
And then there's this concept, post-traumatic growth. It sounds almost contradictory.
It does, but it points to something profound about human resilience. Sometimes, after navigating really significant adversity, people report emerging stronger, with a deeper appreciation for life, closer relationships, a stronger sense of purpose.
So the really hard times, the big mistakes or traumas can actually become catalysts for positive change.
When processed with awareness and support, yes, they can reveal inner strengths and shift perspectives in ways that ease might not, transforming darkness into a source of light, in a sense.
You suggested keeping a mistake journal. Tell me more about that. How does it work?
It's quite straightforward, really. When a mistake happens, maybe later that day or the next, you take a moment to write, first, just objectively, what happened, no blame, just the facts. Then reflect. What did I learn from this? What insight did it offer? And finally, what might I do differently next time? What's the skillful action moving forward?
So it's structured reflection, turning the mistake into a concrete lesson plan almost.
Exactly. It makes the process active. It shifts the mistake from being a source of regret to being an asset, a piece of data for future growth. It encourages that wise, compassionate action.
You mentioned Sara Blakely, the Spanx founder, as an example of perseverance.
Yes, her story involves so many rejections, so much doubt. But she kept going, driven by belief. And she often talks about how embracing failure as feedback was crucial to her eventual success.
That ability to just keep going, to not let the no's define her, that
Yeah.
takes real strength.
It speaks to that quality of equanimity we touched on earlier. Maintaining balance, whether things are going well or poorly.
Right, not getting too carried away by praise or too crushed by criticism.
Exactly. It's like being a mountain. The weather changes, storms, sunshine, but the mountain remains steady. Equanimity means our inner state isn't dictated solely by external events, including our mistakes. They happen, but they don't have to destabilize our core.
So, bringing these ideas into daily life, you suggested loving kindness, meditation, metta. How does that help after a mistake?
It's a direct antidote to self-criticism. After you stumble, taking a moment to silently offer yourself kindness can be incredibly soothing. Phrases like, "May I forgive myself," "May I learn from this experience," "May I be patient with myself," "May I grow wiser and kinder."
That sounds so much gentler than the usual internal monologue.
It softens the heart. It replaces judgment with compassion, which creates a much better environment for actually learning the lesson.
And the evening reflection ritual.
Just taking a few minutes before sleep to gently review the day. Acknowledging successes, yes, but also looking at the stumbles, the missteps, with that same gentle curiosity. What did I learn? How did I grow?
It's about honoring the whole messy picture of being human, not just the highlight reel.
Precisely. And in that space, you can even practice gratitude for the challenges. It sounds odd, but
Gratitude for mistakes.
gratitude for the lessons they offer. They push our boundaries, reveal hidden patterns, help us discover new strengths. They are, in their own way, invaluable teachers.
You used the phrase the alchemy of mistakes earlier. That's such a striking image.
Think of dropping a stone in a calm lake. There are ripples, disruption, but the lake absorbs the impact and stillness returns. Mistakes disrupt our inner peace. The alchemy is in our response. Do we stay focused on the ripples, clinging to regret? Or do we let the waters settle and see what wisdom lies beneath?
Turning the lead of shame or frustration into the gold of understanding.
Exactly. Transforming the experience from something that diminishes us into something that helps us grow.
You broke this alchemy down into 3 steps: acceptance, analysis, transformation. Acceptance seems like the crucial, sometimes hardest first step.
It often is. Resisting what happened just prolongs the struggle. The principle of anicca, impermanence, is helpful here, remembering that the mistake, the feeling, it's not forever. Acceptance means acknowledging, okay, this happened, without adding layers of judgment.
Letting it be what it is.
Yes. And the idea of wabi-sabi comes in here too, finding beauty in the imperfect, the transient. Like that cracked kintsugi bowl, the flaw becomes part of its unique story and beauty. Our mistakes contribute to our unique story.
You suggested a visualization for acceptance, seeing the mistake as a pebble.
Yes. Just sit quietly. Visualize the mistake as a small, simple pebble in your hand or before you. Observe it without judgment. Notice its texture, its shape. Ask gently, what does this represent? How has it shaped me? Creates a bit of distance, allows for a calmer perspective.
Okay, so once there's some acceptance, then comes analysis.
Right, moving from just feeling the impact to understanding the mechanics, examining it with curiosity, not criticism. This aligns with pradya, wisdom through discernment.
Breaking it down, what were my intentions? What actions did I take? What were the actual consequences?
Just like Alex did with his failed app. You look at the different pieces, and this is where cognitive restructuring comes in handy, noticing and changing those automatic negative thoughts. Instead of, I'm such an idiot, maybe, okay, I misjudged that situation. What can I learn about my judgment process?
Changing the internal narrative, that feels really powerful. It shifts you from victim to learner.
Precisely. It gives you agency back. You take ownership of the learning rather than just absorbing the blame.
And the final step, transformation. Taking that learning and letting it change you.
Yes. This is about actively using the insight. It connects to the ideal of bodhisattva, the aspiration to grow and awaken, not just for ourselves, but so we can be of benefit to others too. Every challenge, every mistake holds potential for this kind of positive transformation.
You mentioned adopting a beginner's mind here.
For sure. approaching the next situation the next day with openness, not carrying the weight of last mistakes so heavily that it paralyzes you, seeing each moment as a fresh start.
And forgiveness is key in this transformation stage too, right?
Absolutely. Forgiving yourself for being imperfectly human, forgiving others if they were involved. It releases so much stored tension and frees up energy for moving forward constructively.
And then finally, taking inspired action, using the energy, the learning to do something positive.
Yes. Trusting that sometimes these apparent setbacks are actually course corrections, guiding you toward a path that might be even better suited for you.
That story you told, the artist and the cracked pot, that really stuck with me.
The pot that felt so ashamed of its leak, only to realize its flaw, was watering a beautiful line of flowers along the path.
Yeah, finding purpose in the imperfection.
It's a reminder that our perceived weaknesses, our mistakes, our vulnerabilities, they aren't necessarily liabilities. They might be the very things that allow us to connect, to contribute, to nourish life in unexpected ways.
It makes you look at your own cracks a bit differently, wondering what flowers they might be watering without you even realizing it.
Our imperfections are part of our humanity, and often they're part of what makes our contribution unique and valuable.
So, in the end, mistakes aren't really the opposite of success, are they?
No, I think they're integral to it. Almost every great achievement is built on a foundation of experimentation, trial, error, learning. They teach us humility, patience, resilience, adaptation, essential qualities for any meaningful journey.
They're kind of like unexpected guides, maybe. Sometimes uncomfortable guides, but guides nonetheless.
I like that, allies on the path. And they connect us too. They remind us we're all in this process of learning, stumbling, getting back up together.
So as we go about our day-to-day, maybe we can hold that thought. When we stumble, maybe it's not just a fall.
Maybe it's a step revealing more of the path, our own unique, unfolding path.
Embracing the lessons hidden inside those moments.
And perhaps discovering some unexpected beauty, even in the cracks.
Let's just take a moment of quiet with that thought.